Hi everyone, we're going to talk about the Samsung Fascinate today. I've been using it for a while. I did an unboxing if you've seen that. If you haven't, go check it out if you're interested in what comes in the box and kind of some first impressions. It has been a pretty decent phone, so I've used it for a while. Wanted to give you a real-world use case. Have let some other people check it out and got their feedback. So let's go ahead and check out the specs. To help me out here, I have my iPad with some notes. It's a long spec list like most phones, but basically we've got eVDO Rev A, 1 gigahertz processor, 16 gig SD card, and we also have 2 gigs internal storage, and along with a 5 megapixel camera on the back that supports 720p video recording and has an LED flash here to go with it. It also has a 1500 milliamp battery in it that supports up to 7 hours talk time or up to 13 days of standby. And this phone, I can definitely say, gets some pretty good battery life from my use and others. We also have a 480 by 800 pixel resolution display on a Super AMOLED screen, so it's a little bit better in sunlight than, say, the Droid Incredible. We also have a 4-inch touchscreen as opposed to some other larger and smaller touchscreens on Android phones. The phone dimension-wise is just under 5 inches by 2.5 inches by under a half-inch thick. So it's a pretty small phone and weighs just over 4 ounces. So it's a pretty light phone also. So compared to, say, an iPhone, a Droid X, a Incredible, it feels really light, and that's because of the plastic back on here. It does have some specific features to the Galaxy S, and that would be its own interface that's kind of got some own widgets that Samsung threw in that are pretty nice, but some other people don't like them. So we'll go into the pluses and minuses of those in just a moment. Let's first talk about design though. And overall the phone is pretty nice. It's a nice shape. It feels good in the hand. It is plasticky because the back is plastic. This is a removable plastic cover, and I can show you that. It comes off very easily. But it won't just fall off. You've got your battery, your micro SD slot there, and your camera. It has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on the top there. You've got your microphone on the bottom, and no physical buttons on this one, or no keyboard, physical keyboard, but you do have swipe as one of the options for your keyboard. Overall though, aesthetically the design is nice. You've got your volume rocker. Couple weird things with this is you have a USB on top. Not sure I'm crazy about that because I kind of would rather have them put the sleep wake button, which is on the side, up on the top. It just seems to make more sense after holding something like a Droid X, an iPhone, I mean you name it. Most phones have the sleep wake on top, and you get used to hitting it, and when you put your finger there and you're used to that, it's going to feel awkward. If this is your first Android phone with like a sleep wake button or smartphone with sleep wake, it's going to feel completely natural to you to have it on the side. But just thought I'd bring that up if you're switching from another phone. It's just something to get used to, not necessarily a bad thing, but my preference would be to have it on top. So let's go into the UI a little bit and talk about what Samsung has done to differentiate their phone compared to some other Droid phones. Some people have actually commented on the other videos that I've made that they don't like the Samsung Fascinate and that it makes it too iPhone-like. They've added some round icons to go behind the application icons that you get with the normal Android phone. You have lots of different little UI tweaks and things that they've done within the phone to make it a little bit nicer or pleasant to look at experience. In the notification in the top of the phone, you actually get a drop down that also includes your emails and things like any other Android phone, but you also get the option to have things such as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth within the phone right there at the top. And that makes for a really nice experience and easy access to simple options that you might use every day. Maybe to conserve battery life, or you want to hook it up to your car, Bluetooth, or whatever, or a headset. You have that. When music is playing, you also have music displayed in the notification bar, which makes this really quite a nice experience. And why hadn't someone done that before or thought of that before as a stock add-on for the phone? The UI also includes swipe that some other Android phones have, but it makes it really quick to type on once you get used to it. It takes a little bit of time, but it's really a nice experience once you've used it, and saves some time typing. And I don't know, overall I think it's a pretty cool idea. You do have some downsides to the interface though, with things such as the iPhone likeness to it. Some people are not crazy about the iPhone similarities in the phone, and feel that if you want those, go get an iPhone. Why would you put these in a Android phone? It's supposed to be different. Well, this may either be a good thing or a bad thing to you, but you may want to consider that when using it. A couple bad things is, why the heck would you include Bing as the default search engine and only option within a Samsung phone that works on a Google platform? What are they thinking? I mean, really, it's really kind of an odd choice, and why they put it in there, I'm not sure why, but they did. The touchscreen on the phone is quite good, and it's better than some others. When you're browsing and you're doing pinch to zoom, it's quite responsive and works very well. And I think it's as good as any other phone I've used that has a touchscreen, any modern touchscreen phone. It responds very well. Overall, I think it's a great phone. I've actually had one of my brothers use it for a few days just to say, what do you think of the phone overall? And got some good response out of that. I've yet to hear anybody say they don't like the phone. That goes from anyone I've just said, here, check this phone out, or my brother, for instance, used it for a couple days and found it to be a great phone. Wants it back, but it's going back to Verizon, so can't really help him there. But I like to get a couple different opinions on the phone, and honestly, I have had the most positive response from the Fascinate than I have from any Android phone I've ever shown anybody. That includes the Droid X and the Droid 2 and all the different phones you've seen on this channel. So pretty positive experience. I don't think you're going to be disappointed if you go with this phone. But there are some cons to the phone as well. The first thing would be the Super AMOLED screen isn't the best in sunlight. It's very good, but it's still an AMOLED screen, so you're going to want to take that into consideration if you live in very sunny areas, maybe like Florida or California, that sort of thing. Where I'm at, it's not a problem. Upstate New York is like Seattle. There's clouds everywhere all the time. It's rainy, it's crappy weather, and fortunately for us, on the phone side, we can see our phones. One of the other cons would be the plastic of the phone. You're not going to have the metal to protect it like some other Droid phones have that may keep it safe over time from drops and things like that. Keep those internals intact for, as opposed to a thin plastic coat. Now, the plastic is replaceable if you did need to replace it or want to sell it later and it's heavily scratched or cracked, but still it may be something to take into consideration. The final thing that's really kind of a letdown is the quality of the microphone on the video recordings. If you've seen the other video I did, I compared some cameras, 4 different phones actually, their video quality and audio quality, and the Fascinate takes pretty good video, but the microphone leaves something to be desired compared to some other phones. So you may want to take that into consideration if you are planning to buy the phone and take a lot of video with it. You may want to look elsewhere. As it's kind of disappointing. And check out the other video though and see if it's acceptable to you, where I compare them in different situations. The other thing I wanted to talk about is battery life. Battery life is great on this phone. Due to the Super AMOLED screen, it's really low power and seems to make the phone last a lot longer than your conventional phone. In my tests, I easily had it go over a day with a normal use. I wouldn't say super heavy use. I'm not on it constantly, but I use it the same as I might use my iPhone, and I get the same battery life out of it, and then some. So it really goes easily 2 days for a lot of people. In the experience that I said I had let my brother use it, he easily got 2 days out of it without charging it. So that's definitely a plus for this phone. So there's really not a whole lot more we can go into here, but I think we've covered most of the points. Overall, it's a very good phone. Check it out and let me know what you think and what you decided to go with. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.